Hi, Alex Recaps here. Today I am going to explain a movie called Missing. The film begins with an old video of a father playing with his little daughter. Mother enters the room while she's filming the girl with her father. As the man suddenly bleeds from his nose, the video is rewound, paused, and a screenshot is taken. Dad and daughter together. Then the user deletes the Google account. Among the documents there is a mention of meningioma, a brain tumor from which the heroine's father died in the next. Seen on the screen is a documentary from David Kim. A father of his daughter disappeared in a movie named Search. From viewing, our heroine June is distracted by correspondence with a friend, followed by a call from her mother named Grace. Mom is going on vacation with her new boyfriend Kevin. She gives her daughter an indication of what she can do in her absence and what is absolutely impossible, realizing that a teenager without control will still be self-willed. Grace confronts her daughter with the fact that her friend Heather will look after her. Kevin comes to June. He tries to improve relations with his stepdaughter, but it turns out not too well. Grace comes to say goodbye and then goes on vacation. June watches through the security camera as the adults get into the taxi. At the same time, her friend Vienna sends a photo of a trunk full of booze to hang out in the absence of parents. Heather visits her to make sure the girl is doing well. When she leaves, June goes for a walk in the park with her friends. Teenagers burn a fire in drinking booze. This is how it goes day by day. Kevin sends vacation photos to his stepdaughter. June spends all the money left on hanging out with friends. The third Sunday of June is coming soon. In the evening, a whole crowd of friends come to her in order to chill out because tomorrow her mother will return. Among the merry youth, June sits with an invariably sad face. Left alone, girl at night rewatching the last video with his father and carefully cropping the photo posts on social networks. Waking up, June looks at the mess left after the party in the house and orders the services of a cleaning agency. Girl goes to the airport where she won't meet her mother with a sign welcome back from prison. However, for some reason Grace and Kevin are not among the passengers. June calls mother on the phone, but she does not answer. Then the heroine calls the hotel where they stayed and, using an online translator, finds out that mom has moved out. Looking on Google Maps Street, June wants to see the records of video cameras, but this can only be done directly at the hotel. June studies the missing persons report form, and in the morning she calls an FBI agent named Park from the U.S. Embassy in Colombia. He investigates the disappearance and requests any information about the missing. June tries logging to the mother's Google account to find out the geolocation, but it does not work. Vienna advised her to look at public cameras in Colombia, that they are of low use. June decides to hire Colombian worker Javier to go to the hotel and look at the security footage. Javier asks if June tried to contact Kevin with the help of Vienna's acting talent and also publicly available data. The heroine convinces tech support to reset the password from Kevin's Google account so that she can log in. The girl is browsing the geolocation movement when Javier gets in touch with bad news. The camera footage has already been erased. However, the man asked the staff, and it turns out that Grace was at the hotel at 1 in the afternoon, after which she and Kevin went to the hardware store thanks to access to a credit card. June can see in which area they paid. She sends Javier to interrogate the salespeople. Heather warns that using Kevin's account is illegal, but the girl finds evidence in the correspondence that he cheated on Grace. There are 27 people on Kevin's blacklist, all women, and corresponded with him, calling him by other names. By entering names in a search engine, the heroine receives a link with a single match. The link leads to the federal penitentiary's page where Kevin arrested as a swindler. June Hubel's the last woman Kevin corresponded with, having found her pictures from work and social networks. The girl calls the restaurant and finds out that the girl has not been in touch for 2 weeks and that Kevin has been in that restaurant as evidenced by geolocation. After looking where he has been, June finds a house in the outskirts, having learned the address and phone number. She calls there, and it turns out that there are rehabilitation services for former prisoners. Javier gets in touch. He found out which store Kevin was in and that he bought a padlock. June logins Kevin's Gmail to look through his correspondence with Grace. They met through a special dating app. The girl enters it from her mother's account and scrolls through the correspondence while watching a video message. Along the way between Grace and Kevin are born and strengthened sympathy. It turns out that the mother shared with the interlocutors some secret from the past in a personal meeting and asked not to tell anyone about it. Deciding to check where they were walking, June googled tourist spots for lovers. She finds a bridge where the couple are padlocking as a sign of the strength of their feelings, which explains the purchase at the hardware store. Javier goes there and advises her to connect to the camera. June scrolls video on the date of the disappearance and sees how her mother and Kevin come to the bridge and fasten the lock. The most interesting thing is that Kevin proposes to Grace. Agent Park gets in touch to tell the terrible news: tourists were kidnapped. There is a phone record of Iran and witness. June is viewing the latest post by mothers, sees the inscription, and Googles Kevin's interlock here, who among other things moonlights as an actress. Looking at pictures from vacation, the girl understands that neither one does not have the mother's face on Kevin's account. There is a video where you can see that another woman is sitting on the plane instead of Grace. Agent Park makes a statement at a press conference that another woman has been kidnapped instead of Grace. An actress named Rachel, the mother of the heroine, did not even leave her hometown. The authorities are combing the area looking for women, but to no avail. Soon on YouTube appears video of Rachel's arrest. The police take her out of the passenger plane. She admits that Kevin hired her for a supposedly experimental travel project. When she got into the cab with him, Grace was gone. Agent Park gives June another shocking piece of news in fact, her mother is not who she claims to be. Journalists have a theory that Grace is not a victim but the initiator of her disappearance. Vienna makes the heroine think that it is worth digging into mother's past, having kicked out her friend. The girl proceeds to study Grace's profile. Delving into history, the heroine finds a link to an application for encrypting messages. After downloading it and resetting the password using mail, the girl finds a message that mentions she herself, however, is not at all clear who was Kevin's interlock here. Pretending that he lost his smartphone, the girl asked for a phone number and finds out what Heather is hiding behind the cipher. She doesn't say anything to anyone, preferring to dig up the evidence first with a camera hidden in her watch. The girl goes to Heather's office, but she's not there. The computer is completely deleting all information. Heroine notices scattered beads on the floor and then finds the Heather's body in the closet. After the autopsy, June learns that she miraculously missed the killer. The camera slides out smoothly, showing the program interface for covered surplus of someone else's computer. Someone is following June. Kevin writes to the Observer asking help to get out from Colombia because he planned everything to avert suspicion, and he can't just be abandoned. Vienna sends a link to a live broadcast of the assault on the Colombian police. Special forces catch Kevin, who was shot dead in the process. Later, the heroine listens to the voice messages left by her mother. One appeal makes her think the girl enters a new password into her mother's account and gets access to her mail. There she finds one block user who sent a message she has a right to know. Dating through history, the girl sees a bunch of purchased surveillance cameras. They are aiming for a house. Looking through them, June realizes that this is the place where she and her dad shot the last video. The investigation is interrupted by a call from Pastor James is standing near the front door. The frightened heroine wants to call the police, but the guest takes off his hood. Under is her supposedly deceased father. He says that Grace took her daughter while being mentally unstable and framed him and put him in jail. All this time she was hiding under an assumed name. June understands that his father met in prison with Kevin, which helped him kidnap his mother. It was her father who was driving the taxi. Vienna suddenly calls. June rushes to the computer to answer, but her father attacks her and drags her away from the house. Turns on the old VD record, on which it is clear that the father threatens his wife when the daughter leaves. It was his aggressive behavior and domestic violence that forced the mother to run away with her daughter. It turns out that he was using drugs and Grace just handed him over to the police to change the name. Grace turned to Heather. June's father takes June to an old house where he ties her up and leaves her alone. Judging by the laptop screen, it was he who was watching her man charging the gun. Then goes to the barn. Grace is languishing in captivity there. He tells her to change clothes, threatening with a gun that the woman beats him with a previously hidden brick and runs away. One in the house sees her daughter and releases her, but James has already freed himself and locks them in the room. At this time, June remembers about the miracle watch in addition to the camera that are instant messengers. She calls Javier, asks for help, put her Instagram and look at the photo address at home where James keeps them. The connection is interrupted. James enters and threatens Grace with a gun and stabs her in the stomach. June tries to escape, but the man catches her while they are struggling. The mother gets up and sticks a shard of a mirror in his neck. The surprised man goes outside. After locking the door, the girl takes out a camera hidden in the ventilation and belittles for help. June leans over to the lying mother and asks for forgiveness for her behavior. In the end, she remembers that the broadcast from this house is turned on her laptop and the phone is nearby by the voice command. Girl tells to call the police. In the next scene, the police break into the house. They find the corpse of James and in the next room wounded June and Grace, but it's all documented dramatization. For the series that June is watching, her story formed the basis of the next series of a crime show based on real events. Girl watching movie filmed by the motives of her life, and we can see how it all ended. The viewing is interrupted by a mother's call. She says soon will return home, and then she became friends with Javier. Hair movie ends. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow at the same time.